everybody, and welcome to the Thom Hartmann Show. I am Richard R.J. Eskow, sitting in for Tom, who is on vacation this week. You know, there's a lot to talk about in the world right now. There's a lot going on in our country. There's a lot going on around the planet. The planet itself is in peril, but today is a day for mourning. Today is a day in which we will come together and talk as a community about the tragedy in Orlando. We'll have a lot to say about that, too. We'll have a lot to say about the laws and the political environment that allow tragedies like this to keep on happening. We'll have a lot to say about the persecution of people in our society for the simple fact of whom they love. We will talk about all these things on today's program, but first and foremost, I think this is a time for us to come together as a community of people with shared values, to grieve together, to talk together. So we'll be taking your calls. We will be processing the horror of these events together as a community. As you know, 49 innocent people dead in Orlando, Florida, solely for the crime of who they love and how they choose to spend their evening on a weekend night. And the victim, as well as the victims, the perpetrator, also dead, 53 injured as of last report. It is a scene of shock and dismay in Orlando and around the country. In a moment, we will be talking with Chadwick Moore, who is the editor-at-large for Out Magazine. He is there in Orlando. And again, as I say, please stick with us because we will be trying to understand and process together these horrific events as a community. That is what we are here for. That is what we hope to do. So let's join Chadwick Moore now on site there in Orlando, Florida. If I can, hang on a sec. Chadwick?
Hi, Richard. Great to be with you.
Thank you for coming on the program. And now, were you in Orlando when this horrific tragedy happened, or did you come down after the event?
I came down after. I got in at about 9 o'clock last night.
And what have you been able to find out so far this morning? I mean, we're all kind of processing this. We know the facts. What are you experiencing there in terms of how people are reacting to this and dealing with this there in Orlando?
As you mentioned earlier, there's definitely a lot of shock, a lot of dismay. People are very confused. The city of Orlando has just this morning released more names of the deceased, so people are going through that. Last night, I was on Orange Avenue, which is where the club Pulse is. The police had it cordoned off about a half mile around the club, and there was, of course, all the press was gathered there, and some people showed up saying that they expected a memorial or at least a candlelight vigil, but no one had turned up to do that. The sense was that people were very scared. They wanted to be at home with their families. After that, we went to another nightclub here in town, about 3 miles down the road, and there were several dozen people here. The bar staff said it was quieter than usual. There was a sort of sense of people trying to laugh and say that this isn't going to bring us down. And there was a drag performance, and the drag queens were, at the same time mourning. They were making jokes, and they're saying we're stronger than this. And then in the corner, there would be a group of people huddled together and crying. And it's just people really trying to grasp with how they should feel, what they should be doing, and also not being defeated by this.
You raised such an important point. I can see that people would want to reaffirm their lives, their lifestyle, their choices, the drag performance, and so on, while mourning at the same time. In order to do that, and in order to have a candlelight vigil, for example, people need reassurance from the authorities, I think, that they're being adequately protected and safeguarded from potential future acts of violence so that they can feel safe, so that they can gather as a community. Was there any sense from the police that they were more vigilant than usual? Did they, for example, when you went to the club last night, was there police protection visible there? Has there been dialogue between the gay community in Orlando and the police force there about protection going forward?
Yes, absolutely. And at the club here, there were 2 police cars stationed right out front and the officers standing near the entrance. I did hear that at other clubs around the city, the police, at other gay clubs around the city, the police were also stationed. Speaking to people, everyone had nothing but the kindest things to say about the police force here in Orlando. People were saying that, I've been hugging police officers and I see them. I've been shaking their hands. I've been telling them thank you. The police have been, according to people on the ground, the police have been telling LGBT folks essentially not to gather in large groups. Mm-hmm. And many people, especially at the club last night, were saying, we understand why they're saying that, but that they're not going to stop us from doing this, and we are coming together, and this is what we've always done and will continue to do. So the police are being very vigilant. They are, they are trying to protect people as much as possible, but there is this resistance of people to say, you're not going to stop us from doing what we do. And it's like President Obama said in his speech yesterday. He said, the gay club, the gay bar is so much more than just a bar for the gay community. It's a place to reaffirm values. It's a meeting place. It's a political center. It's where everyone comes together to be with each other. It's so much more than just a place where people go to get drunk and party. Right. So that's the sense here is that people just they're not going to stop us if we want to get together. We're going to.
Yeah, I think it's both an affirmation and a communal mourning process, right? I mean, it's both those things. And, there's been a lot of confusion about the timeline of the events. I don't know if you've heard anything more about that. First, there was confusion that there was delay before the police moved in. Then it was, explained that was because it was considered a hostage situation for some time. Do we know anything more about that?
From what, and all of this is still just coming in, but from what I know is just essentially what you do, and the hostage situation, one report I read said it was about 3 hours that the gunman was inside in this hostage situation. There's been some people looking into that, wondering if the police should have moved in further, if they should have moved in earlier. Perhaps there were people inside who were bleeding out, and those people might have survived had the police acted sooner. And I think all of that is still just filing in. I just actually saw a story. I haven't got to read it yet, but the police were having a dialogue with the gunman, and the officers described him as cool and calm. But I haven't gotten to read that full report yet. But all of this is just now all coming out.
Well, tell us, how long do you plan to stay there, and what do you expect to see in the next 24 hours?
We are here. I'm here with a colleague from Out Magazine, and we are here until Thursday at the moment. If we need to stay longer, we will. We're looking into several issues. One of the big issues that no one is speaking about, or people are getting lots of misinformation on, is the blood donation issue. So gay men are still forbidden from donating blood by the FDA if they've had sex within the last year. Right. And there's been a lot of misinformation going around that's saying that the FDA has lifted this, saying that blood banks in Orlando are accepting blood from gay men who've not been celibate for a year. If they are accepting it, they would have to throw it away. So this is an issue that this tragedy has actually brought to light. It's something many in the gay community have known about for a while, but perhaps...
And that's... and we're going to have to leave it there, but we will talk more about blood donations on this program to make sure that happens. So Chadwick Moore, editor-at-large for Out Magazine, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck down there.
Thank you, Richard.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here, and please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.